Grabbing the boards like I'ma go coast to coast. I'm on beats like Dosey Do. They don't wanna go toe to toe. Step into my court, you get put in the poster. We ain't talk to nobody if you ain't with the smoke. Run up on me, watch your ankles get broke.
Yo, what up, it's your boy JDMC, and we're back with another video. What I want to do today is just talk a bit about the Lakers, and a little bit of, I just want to get into their offense and their defense, and I think there's a few things that people aren't really talking about or noticing per se, unless you're sort of a real true Lakers fan and you're watching the games. I just feel like the media and stuff aren't talking about certain aspects of their offense and certain aspects of their defense. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Before I get into it, make sure to hit that sub button. We're on the road to 1K, so please make sure to subscribe, join the movement, and I'll also give you 5 seconds to like the video. If you don't like it, your team's not going to make the playoffs. So you liked it? Alright, so let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the perimeter defense does need to get a little bit better because of the lack of rim protection. We obviously don't have the twin towers like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee like we did last year. They were huge for our defensive success. Like we were one of the top, I think one of the top defensive teams. Like we led the league in blocks and sort of stuff like that. So we can't funnel players into the paint like we could last year. Like I don't know, for example, say Rondo's on Luka. If a screen comes, Rondo can sort of let Luka just sort of blow by him. Rondo will recover the screen man. And you know you've got JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard down there, and even AD. So that was a big aspect to the Lakers' success last year because we were defensive first. We had LeBron and AD, so it was like they'll carry the offensive load. If they can just be a solid defensive team, will manage to score enough points. With this year, I think it's a bit different because we're not as good defensively. We obviously lost the Twin Towers, but we also lost Danny Green and Avery Bradley, who are like top tier perimeter defenders. We did replace them with some nice pieces who can defend as well. Like Schroeder's not a bad defender, he's a dog, and also like Wes Matthews off the bench, and you still got the Carusos, and KCP's pretty solid, marking like the 1 and 2. So I do think that that's fine, but we are way more well-rounded team this year. I think there's more talent to take the focus off AD and LeBron. Like I just said, we were so defensively focused last year that it was just like AD and LeBron just go to work. They'll do all the work on the offensive end, and they've got shooters. Rondo helped a lot facilitating off the bench, and obviously Kuz and KCP had games where they were taking big scoring loads. But yeah, last year it was just AD and LeBron. With this year, when you add Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, even Wes Matthews off the bench, he's a good scorer. Yeah, you really add some nice pieces, and also Taylor and horton-tucker, if he can keep increasing his minutes and being a solid role player, he gets you buckets. Like he's a walking bucket, that man, and he's only 20 years old. Yeah, when it does come to the defense, I do think that Montrezl Harrell does need to get a lot better at guarding the pick and rolls. I think that will come in time. I think it was just trying to figure each other out. Like it was against the Portland game, like he just looked lost out there. Like every time there's a screen, his man was just dropping to the paint, and he just wasn't recovering in time. He was worrying too much about covering the ball handler, and yeah, it wasn't working. And Gasol also needs to just not look as sloppy. Like he just looks really sloppy. I think he just needs to get his feet under him a bit, gel with the team more. He's such a great teammate. Like he's always looking to pass on the offensive end, but defensively just moving his feet a bit more. I do think that when we come to the matchups like the Nuggets with Joker and I don't know, Philly and stuff like that, I do think that Marc Gasol's going to come in handy just to be that big body, because Trez is only 6'7", but yeah, Marc Gasol being pretty much a 7-footer, he's got a lot of weight in that back pocket of his, so he can definitely sort of hold down those bigger players. He's just not that great laterally, but we still do have Anthony Davis, who, when people were talking about, oh, I've lost Dwight and lost JaVale, like, I'm just sitting there like, you're right, and you have points, but we still have Anthony Davis, like the best defender in the league, arguably. So like, I think we'll be fine, but we do need to figure it out a bit more. But the main thing I sort of want to talk about in this video is, and what no one's talking about, is the way that the Lakers' success is going to come this year, because we're going to outscore teams. Last year, we were keeping teams under 100, around that 100 mark, and we were putting up 110 a game just to secure those victories. But this year, we're going to be outscoring teams. Like on Christmas Day, we dropped like 135 on the Mavericks. I know they're not the greatest defensive team, but I do think that that's the big aspect of the Lakers that no one's talking about, is that we're just going to outscore teams. We obviously know we added like Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, so people know that we got more scorers, and people know that the focus isn't so much on LeBron and Davis, but we're just going to be outscoring teams. Like if you think about it, 2-3 years ago, Kuzma was a second option when Bron first got there. The next year when AD came, he became the third option, sort of fell to the fourth option because KCP was doing most of the damage. But now he's the fifth option, and he's only got better and more efficient from the small sample size we've seen this year. So if you have him as a fifth option, you've got AD and LeBron as first and second, Dennis Schroeder, who I think will be our third leading scorer, followed by Montrezl Harrell. And that's not even talking about if Taylor Tucker's getting more minutes, because he can get some buckets up. And then you've got the shooters like KCP, Matthews. So this team offensively is dangerous, and if they can start clicking on the defensive end as well, if the defense can catch up to the offense, I just think the Lakers are going to 2-3-4-peat. We'll obviously have to wait and see, like the Nets and the Clippers and teams like that are still looking solid, but I just think the Lakers are just going to be outscoring everyone, especially if LeBron and Dennis can correlate as that point guard. I think a huge aspect and a focus point for them is AD needs to be involved, because when you've got two ball handlers, they can get carried away with doing their magic. LeBron's obviously LeBron, but I'm talking more about Schroeder. Like, he was against Portland. He did put up like 24, but I just felt like he was ball hogging a lot. AD did play real passive, and AD did say that he didn't want to disrupt people's rhythms because everyone's trying to get their feet wet in this team. But I do think that the team needs to go through AD as the leading scorer. LeBron needs to be LeBron, and then you need Schroeder to be that backup point guard for LeBron. Not backup because they both start, but backup in terms of that second option who can handle. And then also Schroeder and LeBron need to make sure that Montrezl Harrell offensively is getting involved, because if he's only giving you 6 points, his defense isn't the greatest. I mean, he's only 6'7", so especially against bigger forwards, he does need to be offensively involved and have that energy on that side of the court to get the maximum out of Montrezl Harrell. So that will be another focus point for Dennis Schroeder and LeBron as well, is just to make sure that AD and Montrezl Harrell get going down low and start getting buckets and dominating teams there. Because if we can start crashing the paint, it opens up more room for our shooters. Then if our shooters are hitting shots, it's opening more room for the paint players. So, and we all know AD can step out to the 3, he can step out in the mid-range, he's like deadly from the 45 like mid-range. So yeah, that's going to be crazy. But yeah, sort of the moral of the story is I do think that the Lakers offensively is the most dangerous team, maybe one of the most dangerous teams we've seen in modern history, if we don't mention the Warriors, of course, because that was ridiculous. But if you put the Warriors aside, like, this Lakers team could maybe be one of the best offensive teams we've seen, obviously, in the last few years. Obviously, we've only seen a small sample size, but I just think they're only going to get better. There'll be nights where Trez, AD, LeBron, and Schroeder are giving you 20, and also with Kuzma giving you 10 plus, and KCP and Wes Matthews maybe giving you that 8 to 12 range. So yeah, I don't think offense is going to be a problem at all for this team. They will just have to figure it out and click. But when you've got LeBron James, like, chemistry just follows. So I think LeBron's going to have to put it on his shoulders again, like he's been doing since he was 4 years old, and just really lead this team in the right way. And in terms of defense, I think when you've got Anthony Davis, who, like I said, is arguably the best defender in the league, and when you have Frank Vogel, who is extremely passionate about defense, like, he walked into that job last year like, we're going to defend, let's not even worry about scoring right now, we're just going to defend. So I think if they can get that focus as well, being self-conscious to how much offensive power they have, you can't just fully rely on that, because there's going to be nights where players aren't hot or players are missing shots. So we just need to glue that defense together. Obviously, it's not going to be the same in terms of funneling people down and trying to get block shots. It's going to be more like, they'll still do a lot of switching and stuff, and I think we're more versatile in terms of Montrezl Harrell can mark a power forward. He can maybe mark a small forward here and there. So, yeah, defense is going to be a main focus, and I think that's a big aspect we need to get better on, especially in the pick and rolls. But I think that will come in time. These players are still trying to figure each other out. Like, these, half a dozen new players on this team who are in the rotation. So, yeah, I don't think there'll be too much of a problem, but it definitely is an area they need to focus on. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. I just wanted to do a video talking about the Lakers and just sort of speak my thoughts. If you didn't know, I'm a huge Lakers fan, probably you can see by the background. So if you don't agree with anything I say, leave it down in the comments below, because I'm not trying to say I'm right or whatever. This is just how I feel. Make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe. We're on the road to 1K, so please subscribe, support your boy out, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.